friends, and welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. Today I wanted to start a bit of a plant choresy sort of video, kind of probably a multi-day one as well, because I feel like I have like a decent amount to do, but I don't have time in like a single day to do all of the things. So just gonna show you what I get up to over the course of an actual week. I've been quite busy lately with wedding planning and stuff, and so I feel like there's some things that haven't gone on the back burner, but in general my plans have just gone on the back burner. So it'll be good to get some more stuff done this week and make sure things are all going okay. But before we get into it, I want to say, if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. But if you are new here, you probably wouldn't believe that I've got loads of houseplants because you can't freaking see them. And that is because it is dark and gloomy and gross. I feel like summer is over. And it makes me really freaking sad. It's just been gloomy and gray and rainy for the past few days, and it's taken my spirit out a little bit, and it means that I desperately need to turn on the freaking grow lights in my house earlier, because it makes just having the grow lights on earlier when it's not sunny makes such a world of difference. It just makes my house feel more like homely and cozy, because otherwise it's just a bit dull in here. So I love having all of my all of my grow lights on smart plugs, because then I can do it all from like the Google Home app, and so I can just go into like lighting and go all on, and my grow lights turn on throughout the entire freaking flat, which is really, really nice. So I feel like that just generally brings some warmth into the home. Let me get up and show you. Like, doesn't that look so much nicer? It just looks so cozy with the lights on, and just generally nicer. I mean, some of my grow lights are on all the time, like the ones in my cabinet, and the ones in the office tend to be on all the time because Joe leaves the blinds closed. So all of these ones are on all the time, which is nice, but the living room ones for the most part, and the bedroom ones, oh, excuse me. I accidentally pressed the office button, but we can turn these back on. Whee! But yes, the living room ones and the bedroom ones tend to not be on all the time, but it's just so much nicer. Like, tell me it's not really nice to have those on. These ones are on all the time though, because that shelf gets absolutely zero light otherwise. And so if I don't have those on, then my plants in that area won't get any grow light at all. So, or any light at all, full stop. So yeah, that is the first major thing that I need to do today, just to warm the place up and make me feel like I actually want to be staying in my home, because when it's dark and gross and cold, I don't want to. I'm wearing a jumper, for Christ's sake. It's cold. But another thing that I need to do this morning is re-up my predatory mites, because I just got my subscription for them, and it's time to set out the new ones. So I have 50 packs here, and I did want to talk about this really quick. Let me adjust it so I can stand slightly better, because I don't feel like this is a particularly good angle. So with the predatory mites, I get loads of questions because I do still have pests in my home. I know I'm still dealing with pests, and that is kind of an ongoing thing. When you have this many plants, like over 200 houseplants, you are almost bound or almost guaranteed to have some sort of pest issues going on in your home. It's just kind of part and parcel of having this many plants, and it's just something that I kind of can accept. But I wanted to make it really clear because I always get questions where like, how do you like, why do you have pests? Why do you get these sachets all the time? Or why do you do predatory mites if you still have pests? And these are a preventative measure. These are not going to cure my pest problems in my home. And so I have to, if I get an infestation, I need to deal with that separately than these ones. These just help control that infestation and hopefully make it so they don't spread further throughout my home. I find in areas where I have decent concentrations of these, where I didn't previously have problems, like on my Rafida4 tetrasperma, I knew I had a whole-on thrips problem. I knew there were thrips on it, and I knew it was an actual like small infestation. And so I can put all the sachets on here I like, but these don't kill adult thrips. These are not going to deal with the adult thrips. They will only deal with the eggs and larvae, and they can only control so much if I have an adult thrip population that's continuously laying eggs and stuff. With thrips especially, you need to be kind of going at them from multiple angles, killing the adults and the babies, or using something like systemic pest control or chemical pesticides. And I try my best to not use those, but sometimes I do have to. This is my livelihood after all, and if my entire Rafida4 tetrasperma died because of a pest infestation, I would not be happy. It would be not a serious problem, but like it would not be good, and sometimes you just have to do it. And I try not to promote chemical pesticides like Provanto and stuff, but sometimes I do end up using them for problems that are really, really bad. Like in this case, because I can't get into each and every corner of the Rafida4 tetrasperma, I was really, really struggling with it, and so I decided to just full on treat it with Provanto. And no, I'm not like embarrassed about that because it happens, it's what I needed to do, but I try not to promote that. I would much rather promote things like positive things for the environment, like these. These are beneficial insects. They are going to, they're not going to harm like the good environment of your plant, the microbiome and stuff, whereas chemical pesticides will, and they will also harm. They're not good for us to breathe in, they're not good for our pets to breathe in, and they're not good if they get washed down the drain. So if you can possibly avoid pesticides, it is a better option. But these ones, I found in places where I have high densities of these, which didn't have adult thrips previously, they don't end up getting the adult thrips that could easily spread throughout my collection, because these are like dealing in, if one thrip comes over and lays a single few eggs in one area, these will deal with that. And as long as there's not loads and loads more adults in the area to deal with it, these will function, these will get rid of it. I am almost certain that they are massively helping my collection because I know I've had thrips in my house. I have been dealing with the thrips in my house, and had I not had the predatory mites throughout, I think my problem would have been much, much worse, and I would have had more plants with issues. So these are really, really good. In my cabinet especially, they are working phenomenally. I haven't seen thrips in my cabinet in ages, and I know I had some like juvenile thrips in there for a little while, but these sorted out that problem entirely. I have not needed to use chemical pesticides inside of my cabinet for a long, long time. So I think that's like the confusion on things. People get a bit weird about me like treating pests because I'm using these and stuff, but the thing is, because I sprayed chemical pesticides on my Rafida4 tetrasperma, I'm not going to put these on my Rafida4 tetrasperma because the pesticides that are on that will also kill these. So that's just a no-go zone for beneficials for at least 2 weeks until the pesticide wears off of the plant. So I basically just get to go around to all of the other areas which I don't think are infested and I don't want to be infested, and put these in. Does that make sense? I feel like I've kind of just talked myself in circles, but that's how these work. These are not a cure-all. These are like, if I have adult thrips places, these will not get rid of them. I would need something totally different to get rid of adult thrips. So I think that's where the confusion lies, and I think people question why I'm willing to spend I think I spend like 19 pounds every 6 weeks for 50 packets of predatory mites, which I'd say is a pretty good investment long run on my plants, because this is like I said, this is my livelihood. I can afford to spend 20 quid every 6 weeks on my plants, especially if I'm not buying them, which I'm not at the minute. So I think that's hopefully cleared up some of the confusion around predatory mites and my pest issues. Also, I should say that I am only using these for thrips. I do not have any for the spider mites at the minute. I should probably add those on to the subscription, but I mean, famous last words, I CBA to do it right now. Watch, I'll get like a massive spider mites infestation. Hopefully not, but this sounds weird, but I find spider mites, typically, at least the ones that I've had in my home, I find them slightly easier to deal with because I can deal with them with like alcohol sprays and wipes, which aren't like chemical pesticides like Prevonto and stuff, so they're not as harmful for the plants. Obviously, if I have predatory mites on them, which would, I think the predatory mites, I wonder if they do, I think, for spider mites, eat the adults. I'll have to double check on that and put it on the screen. But I think they do eat the adults for that, so maybe I should just get some. Like, add it to my order. Why freaking not? And I do love having the subscription of these. Also, I don't have a discount code for Ladybird Plant Care, but I do have an affiliate link. So if you do shop through them, I would highly appreciate if you use my affiliate link. But if you use a subscription where you automatically get the sachets every 6 weeks, then I think you get some like a discount on the subscription, which is great. I think it's great because I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to think about when I need to change them. These just show up at my door, and then I'm like, oh, it's time to change my like predatory mites. I don't need to like set an alarm in my calendar or whatever. So first things first, let's go through and do these now because it's time. And yeah, all good. So let's do some switcherooning. Switcherooning. Can you tell I'm tired? Cool. And then all of the old ones just go in the bin, I guess. I feel like they're paper, but they've also got like wood chippy medium inside of it, so they can't be recycled. But yeah, I think they just need to go in the bin, which, I mean, it's paper though, so like it's all biodegradable. Like it's not gonna sit in a landfill like plastic would and just like last forever. So I don't feel as guilty about that. Oh, there's some here as well. So many, but yeah, going straight in the bin. I can kind of also take the time when I'm going around putting up the predatory mites to just have a quick like general visual look only through my collection, just to see if anything is popping out at me that needs to be done. And one thing that definitely needs a little bit of attention, by attention I just mean water in this case, is my variegated Paeonia repins. So I have found that this one, I think partly because it's in such a small pot, but this one gets very, very thirsty, and it does a really good job of telling me that it is thirsty just by getting like really, really floppy. And I think I'm really glad that I have it just hanging in my cabinet here, because I can like literally see visually that it is thirsty and needs a little bit of something. And then like as soon as I pull it out, I can feel that it is not as sturdy as it sometimes is. But once I water this one in a couple of hours, it'll have perked back up greatly. I feel like these at least end up coming up back up to the top and are sitting upwards as opposed to hanging down quite heavily. So let's give this one some water in the sink, and we can hopefully, I can show you in a couple hours and it'll be like popped back up again and looking really nice. And I'm just making sure that it's really nice and soaked in here, that it has gone all the way through the bottom and is doing well. At some point, I do think I will repot this one into not necessarily better soil, but I don't know what type of soil I would put it in. I was gonna say Monstera and Philodendron, but I feel like this one would like something probably a little bit more water retentive, just because it, like I've noticed that in the few weeks that I've had it, it is super duper, it is quite thirsty for a Paeonia especially. Like my pulchra does not get as thirsty as this. It does not get floppy like this one does. But this one is good now, and I'm just going to put it to the side here to sit and perk up for a little while. Oh, I also have just noticed on my begonia here that this leaf at the bottom is going a bit yellow, so I can just pull that out. Yeah, it came off quite easily, but otherwise this plant is doing phenomenally. It is growing like crazy. I mean, it was only barely just at the top of these stakes when I repotted it, or when I put new cuttings in the bottom, and now it's all the way up there. I'm gonna have to cut it again just because it is so big, but we can throw this away as well. And also I noticed on my Fat Boy, not Fat Boy, that this bottom leaf is doing a bit of sadness, so I'm gonna take this one out as well. Come on. Typically, yellowing leaves like this are quite easy to just pull off. They come off quite nicely. And this one did, and it only looks like it's got a little bit of an awkward gap there, but that's okay. This one is otherwise growing phenomenally and giving me amazing leaves. I also noticed on my real Fat Boy, so I'm just pulling it into the light, that it's got a couple of new growth points on it. Look at both of those. That is so freaking exciting. I'm curious to see how these do, especially now that we're going into autumn and winter. I'm sure this one will probably need an even brighter space than I have it. I obviously have it right up next to my window there, but I don't think that's quite enough for it, especially on these like sort of cloudy days. But the fact that it has 2 growth points in there makes me feel good about it, and hopefully we can get it to grow well. Maybe this isn't the right place for it long term, but it's just gonna have to stay there. Ooh, I also need to, seeing as I moved my variegated Monstera here, which is where my old Monstera was, I need to upgrade this pole, basically add it on top. I've not been watering this moss pole at all, and I've just been kind of, not necessarily forgetting about my Monstera Albo, but like just kind of ignoring it. You can see some of these white bits are a bit crispy. That's all right, but I want to add add another length of pole there, because also it looks so ditty. Doesn't that look so ditty in the corner without that like big length of moss pole? So I will get some more moss pole on that one probably later in this video. I don't know if I have the capacity to do it today, but I will do it this week. I also need to do some work with my regal, because you can see in there the water level is down to nothing again, and I think the new leaf is near enough out and hardened that it should be fine to repot. But also on my previous new leaf, I've noticed like all of these spots forming, and I don't know, they don't feel crispy. Eventually they get crispy, but I feel like I might have some sort of fungal something going on in here, because those spots do not look like the ones that were on the previous leaves around the edges. I don't know, something's going on with my regal at the minute, and I want to get to the bottom of it. Again, I think I might wait a couple of days on it just to let that new leaf come in a little bit more before I touch it. But for now, I'll just give it some water, maybe some like treatment for fungus, hydrogen peroxide. I'll need to do some research. I've never really dealt with fungus issues before, so we'll do some research and figure this out. May as well water the ones in this area as well while we are here. And just because I have extra water in this watering can. I think that one's good. Those semi-hydro ones are fine. Maybe I'll put some in these moss poles.
Later.
It's been a couple hours now. I've actually had lunch at this point, but I'm pretty sure the Paleonia is perked up nicely. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but it's definitely raised up. It's feeling so much firmer. The leaves don't feel as like flaccid, for lack of a better word. But like this bit especially was so droopy before, and now it's feeling nice and firm. So we can put this back in the cabinet now that it's nice and hydrated. Maybe this would be a good candidate for semi-hydro down the line. Maybe. I don't know if I'd want to do it in semi-hydro or not, because I quite like it hanging where it is, and I don't know if I can do semi-hydro hanging like that. So I don't know, I'll have to think about it. But it's doing really well, and it's so much more like perky now. It's not like drooping down anymore, so awesome. Hello again. Today, this morning, I need to do some watering in here in the bedroom because my plants need it. There's some that are definitely looking a little bit on the dry side, maybe more than a little bit, but I figured now would be the perfect time to try out my nurture system. So in the US, I swear there's like a weight loss thing called Nutrisystem. So whenever I see Nutrisystem, my brain wants to say Nutrisystem, which I know, or is it Nutrisystem? I don't know. Someone tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. I would say it's Nurture System, but this is Kaylee Ellen's fertilizer. I have not tried it before, and I'm excited to give it a go. So this is Power Grow by Nutrisystem. It is a mineral-based fertilizer solution that contains the key ingredients for both plant health and optimal growth. So yeah, and it's suitable for both hydroponic and potting mediums. And I am excited to give it a go because I've not tried it before, and I have heard great things about the leaves. So first off, it comes with a little measuring cap. You can measure out your milliliters, because for potting mix you want 2 ml for a liter of water, and for hydroponic you want 4 ml for a liter of water. So that is what I am going to do. I think most of the plants I'm watering, all of the plants I'm watering today are actually soil. So I'm gonna do the 2 ml per liter of water of this and see what we think, if we like it. Figure out how to take this off because it's sealed in there very nicely. So let's pop to the sink and add this into some water. Right, so I guess we just open this up. I've actually also heard this smells good. Okay, well, it doesn't smell like good, but it doesn't smell bad either. And I need 4 ml. So let's see if we can use this tiny little cap. Oh goodness, I didn't expect it to be so dark. Okay. Oh, maybe that's too much. Maybe that's 5 ml. Oops, I can't put it back. Okay, well, the first round of plants are going to be slightly extra, extra nutriented, but I wasn't expecting it to be this color. Interesting. But again, it just doesn't smell at all. And I think probably using like a pipette would be easier than something like this, but that should be fine. Let's fill this up with some water. And we can water those bedroom plants. Definitely haven't watered this one in a while. Oops. These constantly need water, especially this golden pothos, because it is so densely packed in here. It's 2 plants into 1 pot of like the same size that it was. So this one is just constantly thirsty, which I know is my own fault for densely packing it in so bad, but like, whatever, it's fine. This one needs water. Yeah. The Marble Queen doesn't need it as much, but it does still act pretty thirsty in here. And then I think most of these are pretty okay hydration wise, because I did just recently put this shelf up and I watered all of them pretty soon after that. No harm giving them. I mean, there might be some harm, but I'm going to give them some water. And the annoying thing is, with these hanging ones that aren't in like proper cache pots, I just can't water them the same way I water all of the rest of my plants. I have to bring them somewhere else to water them, which just isn't how I go about watering in my home. And so these tend to not get as much hydration and fertilizer as well. But it doesn't seem to have stopped my mistletoe cactus from growing like an absolute legend. This thing is so freaking long. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just aware of it, and I feel like I need to be more on top of getting these the sort of hydration they need. I'm also gonna pop some into the splendid moss pole. You can really see the color when it's in the cup of the, the moss pole. It is slightly tinged, a more brown color, but I mean, I don't think that really matters. I don't think it'll affect anything, really. It's just the color of the product. I have just refilled my watering can. I feel like I normally edit out when I refill my watering can just because it makes for a smoother video, but I don't want y'all to think that I'm only watering my entire collection with like 2 liters of water, because that would be insane. So I'm not doing that. I have refilled, and I probably, in most cases, if I'm doing a whole room, will have refilled a couple of times in order to make sure that everything is fully hydrated, especially if I'm watering my moss poles, because these are thirsty things. And like, especially the ones in here, they're so big that they require lots and lots of water to keep them fully hydrated and happy. Good morning, friends. Today is a new day and Joe's in the office today, so I have much more freedom to do the planty chores, things that just make a mess around the house. So I really wanted to make an extension for my big monster dubia because the other week I chopped it. I did film it. I was planning on doing a plant chores video the other week when I did chop it, and so I filmed this little bit, but I just never finished making, I never made the rest of the plant chores video. So I'm just gonna insert that in here because I think it's interesting to talk about how I did chop it in half. So let's put that in. Today I need to make a big chop because Lisa is coming over to collect a couple of other planty things that I have of hers. Some stuff from the plant swap that I took home for her because she was carrying her gigantic cactus home. And I figure if she's taking some plants, it's a good time to chop this at this point. It has gotten so big, so full, and like basically nearly grown to the top of the second moss pole on here. So I feel like it just makes sense to chop it. So I guess I think I kind of need to unwrap it a little bit, or let's see. At the very least, I need to unwrap it around the joint in here because there's two moss poles connected to each other. There's a join right there. It's very hard to see because this is very clear plastic, but there's a join there. So that's where I need to separate it from. And I can just pull the plastic away. It's fine from that. So I can use this and then give her the top bit, and then I keep the bottom, and then maybe later in this vlog I can make an extension for this one because I feel like this is DIY moss pole, and I DIY'd the top bit as well, so I'll need another bit of DIY stuff. Oh my goodness. I've only just noticed that these roots, oh my God. Do you see those? Look at those. Those are phenomenal. I think because I've had the plastic on, you can't really see, you can't see them. Oh my goodness. Those are gorgeous. Okay, let me zoom you in and show you how I go about dividing this thing. So first off, we need to chop these cable ties, and then we just need to figure out where we are gonna chop the plant. I'm definitely gonna have to cut some roots off this too. I know I will. So let's chop it just above this node, if I can get my scissors in there. That was a hard chop. And I need to go in, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see these at all, but I need to go in and remove some of those roots in there that are holding it on. So I'm just gonna have to chop a little bit, not too many. Luckily, I think I've chopped it at a good spot where most of its roots are above the join. Just thinking, because a lot of roots are going from this one. So either way, I'm just gonna have to cut a lot of the roots. I think it would probably be easier if I chopped the wire mesh. Sorry, it's really hard to show you this. Chopped the wire mesh from this off a little bit. Let's see if that is done enough to wiggle. Wiggle this out. There we go. And now we have 2 halves of the plant. And this one still has the stake in it because I will use that carrying on. But Lisa can have this top half and I can have the bottom half. Perfect. I will have to make some sort of something because it's gonna grow soon, I hope. And I'll have to extend the pole. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Look at those roots. Doing phenomenally in there. Really, really getting it attached at the back. And so this is what I have now. And I wanted to make a top portion because my cutting, it was the bottom, and it's going to get new growth from in there. You can actually kind of see, oh, that's exciting. I'll put a clip into this because you're not gonna be able to see it from there, but you can actually start to see the makings of new growth point in there. And so I need to get an extension on this sooner rather than later. And luckily this is a DIY moss pole. And so I can DIY one to fit the same size, which is really exciting. So that is what we're going to start off with this morning. I have my giant roll of coated wire, and I actually found this, which is actually very convenient because I believe it is the same size sheet as the back of the previous pole. It is half of an A3 size piece of plastic, and I think that's genuinely the perfect size for this. It looks like about the size that it was made with before, and I can just extend just like the once off the top of this pole for now. I can always do another extension later. But I think this will be fine. And because I already have the sort of stake in the back, that will hold it together a whole lot better. I don't need to make sure that it's like incredibly sturdy, because as long as I attach it, this can make sure it doesn't flop about, if that makes sense. So let's get cutting, I guess. I haven't made my own moss pole in so long, because I feel like I have so many of the sort of like pre-made ones, so I've not done this in a while. I think it'd probably be easiest to cut, because I have previously cut this one there, so I think it would be easiest to just cut a matching length of the wire mesh. So just going to put a mark here so I know where to cut from, and I'm gonna do it based off of this size, which is 6 squares across. So this part is really finicky and annoying, so enjoy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then just cut all the way along to the end. There we go, and I'm actually going to cut these ends off from where I cut it last time, because I don't like having these just sticking out. The wire itself can get super duper sharp, and so it's better to cut it off. There we go. And then we pop that on there. I do have to punch holes in this, unfortunately. So I can go through and mark all of those out. There. I know some people don't measure out the holes, but I just think it looks so much better when you do. So like, why not? You may as well. And then we get to use my hole punch, which is way too small for what I want, but I just, instead of punching one hole, I punch two, and I can create that little kind of double hole thing there. These are the two bottom holes that I am going to attach to the next pole. So I'm going to start the attaching of this from the third. And then we put some moss in. Luckily, the other pole is mossed all the way up to about there, so I don't need to put in tons below that. And in general, I'm not going to be putting loads into this moss pole because obviously this part of the plant hasn't grown yet. So until it starts rooting into this top bit, I don't want to be, I don't want to say wasting moss, but like there's kind of no point in keeping moss in the bit that's in parts that don't have like plant on it. So this should do just fine for now. And I can always add more moss into it later. And I am genuinely only going to put a couple in because I find it easier when the moss isn't like going all the way up into the pole to fit, where'd the cup go? Here. To fit this cup in, I will need to like, it's just easier when it's, when it's like this, when it's open, because the cup is usually a wider diameter than the pole. So it's easier if it can stay open. Right, let's see if we can get this on to the plant. Exciting. Also, it needs to slit on over that. And then if it can go fully inside the previous one, that would be ideal. But obviously this plant, of course, has roots into that moss, which makes it harder. I'm kind of tempted to pull these roots out. I know that kind of sucks. But this plant will recover just fine. And this is the previous bit of wire mesh that I kept in there before. Oh, I feel really bad about doing that, but needs must. And the thing about when you're adding extensions onto moss poles, you want, if possible, for the top pole to go inside of the bottom part. So when you are watering it, the water doesn't just spill out, because if you do it the other way, the water can just come out the pole, which is annoying and not ideal. So if we can avoid that, we will try. So we can go through and attach both on here. I'm just gonna shove that moss down a little bit and wrap her back up, because this wrapping, I genuinely think it helps quite a lot to keep this moist. I have the bits, oh my goodness, I thought I was falling. I have the bits from when I took it off before. I saved them because like they're still pretty much perfectly good, but I saved them to use again. Because I wanted to make sure that when I did give it an extension, it would stay covered. perfectly good. Good enough, at least. And when the new growth actually starts coming out, I can just be careful to make sure that it can have the space it needs. Pop the cup in the top. For easy access to watering, and then also kind of covers the moss in there that otherwise would have access to the air. We are all freaking set on that extension. Ooh, don't step on things. So this is what it is looking like now. It's just a little bit taller. It's nothing crazy, but it is essentially necessary because I'm hoping that this plant grows new growth. So it's looking really, really good in my opinion, and we can put it back into its spot in the office. Okay. Oh gosh, this light's shining straight in my face. There we go. And then these can face down again so they're not shining in my eyes. Fabulous. Wow. While I've got all my sphagnum moss pole stuff out right now, I feel like I may as well do my Monstera Albo too, just because that needs an extension as well, especially since y'all saw it in the corner. It just like, it needs a little sun to get it looking like it's taking up a bit more space. And this one's been begging for it for a while. And honestly, I never water this moss pole, which is like probably kind of bad. I should probably hydrate it more. Maybe that's contributing to it not being, it's not that it's not happy, like it's fine, but like it's not maturing in any sort of way. You can see that. So gotta do something to make this slightly happier. Like pop a load more moss in, and I think after this it would be quite a good idea to wet that whole moss pole. Maybe pop it in the shower for a little bit just to get it really, really, really nice and moist. Perfect. I can't believe I've had this plant for so long at this point. It's been like, 4 or 5 years now. I got it in 2020. Yeah, it was pandemic time. So, gosh, four chunky years at this point. And I mean, it obviously has not grown the best for me. I know that. I've not really been trying, if that, I feel like that sounds kind of bad. I've not been trying with it, but I haven't. I haven't been giving this everything that it might need to be a successful houseplant. So I think now that it's in a slightly more prominent location, like more out in the flat instead of kind of hiding behind things like my regal, which it was hiding behind before, it might get slightly more attention. I don't even think I have a cup for this one at the moment. That's how little I water this moss pole. So probably benefit from a little bit of extra moisture. I can show you in here. Like, can you see how dry that is? I don't know if you can, but it is fully bone dry. So I guess we can put this one into the shower and get it nice and hydrated. Again, it does look better now that it's got a bigger pole on it. But I obviously didn't fill it up all the way because that doesn't quite make sense yet. But the thing is, I have a plant in the shower at the minute that's literally just been living in there for the past, I'd say about a week. It's because I haven't quite found the right spot for it. Also, I really like, cause it's so tall, it gets really spread out, the like octopus thing, the stem holder that I've got on it. While it's great and holds it up to a certain point, the stems are so much longer than it now that it just doesn't give it enough support. So I want to give it more, but I was figuring if I did that, I may as well repot it in something a little bit bigger / deeper. So I got myself a new self-watering Elho insert to go in here, and hopefully that will work better. And I'll just have to do something other than this for the support thing. I'll probably just have to tie it, to be honest. Tie it up on something, like one of those metal stakes that I just used in the back of the dubia pole, something like that. So let's give this one a makeover. Take off the predatory mites because we will not want to get those wet, and I'll put them back on after once it's dry. Okay, we can do the Mitchelletiana in a second, but my doorbell just rang and looks like I've got a parcel with a living plant inside, which I'm super excited about. I think I know what this is, but I might be wrong. I don't know if what I was expecting will have come this quickly. So maybe not. Okay. Just got some paper towel on top. Okay, it is what I'm thinking. This is a package. I'm doing a swap with one of my patrons. I didn't realize this was so big. Okay. Holy cow. Oh my god, okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. We got a plant in here. Like I said, I was not expecting it to be this big, and it's not anything huge, but hoo-wee! Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see if we can get this out of here. Oh my freaking gosh. Okay, so obviously you can tell this is a variegated Alocasia Frydek, and the lovely Siobhan sent it to me in our trade. I've got to pack some stuff up for her as well, but I think I'm gonna do that early next week, just because I'm going away this weekend and I don't want to do anything before that. So I feel it'll just be better for me because I've got a lot to do before I go away. So, oh my goodness. Ah. Okay. This is very innovative packaging. Just taking like an Amazon box and wrapping it around. Like if you don't have that sort of corrugated cardboard stuff, this works really, really well. Look at that. Look how... Obviously, this is the biggest variegated alocasia fried egg I have had before. I have never had one that's like actually... I'd say this is an adolescent one. It's not like an absolute mature one, but it's not a baby either. So that is really, really exciting. And I guess we can pop this one into semi-hydro as well while we're here. I kind of don't want to do it before I go away. Maybe I will let it stay. So it's in sphagnum moss right now. Maybe I will leave it in this substrate for a little bit, just until I come back from this weekend, and potentially until I come back from the wedding stuff. So October, could I wait? Should I wait 15 days, half a month? I feel like I probably should before doing anything with it. I don't want to like disturb it too much. For me, variegated fried eggs have been really, really, what's the word? Really, really sensitive. And I don't want to risk anything before I go away because I know that they are so sensitive. And so I would just rather play it safe than sorry. But oh my goodness. Can we just talk about this variegation on here? I love this like almost fully split half moon leaf. Isn't that so fun? And like even the smaller ones are very well variegated in here. I am so excited about this. I feel so incredibly lucky. I just feel so blessed to have such a wonderful community that are like seeing me and like seeing things that I've said that I really wanted or that I've struggled with, and they're willing to like help me try again. Like I said, this is a swap. I'm going to be shooting her some cuttings. I think some Hoyas. I've got some plans on for her. She sent me all the Hoyas she has, and I'm gonna send her some cuttings with that as well. But Hoyas are great because they're like quite small and slow growing. So I'm gonna take some cuttings later. It won't be in this video, but I just feel so freaking grateful. Okay, exciting. Now that that's open, we can do the we can do the non-variegated one now. Hi, baby. Hi. I've got to work right now, sweetie. You want to sit here? Okay, so I got myself a 25 centimeter Albo pot because I figured that would be a good like one size bigger than the one previous. And I just need to put it together really quick. They're like super easy to install in my opinion. I've done it so many times at this point, I don't even need to think about it. Don't need to look at the directions. I can just do it. There we go. Easy as pie, and that's installed. I'm trying to think. I need something to give it more stability, just because it is so floppy. Otherwise, I literally just put this around it so it wouldn't be flopping on the floor. This is just some computer Velcro. Because this, unfortunately, just wasn't tall enough. I feel like I need a stick twice this high. in order to work really well for me, and that just wasn't what they had. Maybe I could reach out to them, send them a message, and see if they make bigger sticks, because I feel like if they did, that would be the best option. Bye. Yeah. I genuinely feel like I think I only have one more of these at the minute as well. I have the sort of metally plasticky things, but this one I've got sisal rope on. I'm not using the sisal rope at the minute, so I think I am just gonna cut it off. I can always remake this one if I really fancy it to be covered in rope again, but for this plant I don't think it needs to be. Let me get better scissors because these ones are actually pretty awful. I'm just gonna unwind this all sisal. So curly, that's so fun. Okay, I need to make sure Cleo doesn't get into that because she will try and eat it, but I feel like, oh gosh, this is dirty. This is genuinely the best option for what I need. Here, let me scoot you up a little bit. Do I want to put it in the middle? No, I can't put it in the middle. Just having it and putting it somewhere that it can support other things, I feel like makes the most sense. And I can pop some semi-hydro down at the bottom to start. Just get it so I don't need to hold it. Take you out. Oh my god, these roots, y'all. Holy cow. Those roots are phenomenal. So I'm just peeling some of the caterpillars off because if I'm putting it deeper into the semi-hydro, I don't want those to just rot. Corn, that's fun. So there's no way I can actually separate them out in here. They are just fully attached to each other at this point, so I'm not even gonna try to do that. But I think I can just kind of go straight in. Yeah. Go straight in with it, and then this stick will help hold these things up. I can kind of tie them to it almost at whatever height I want. Just for right now though, I'm going to hold it all together while I smooth their corn. While I dump this semi-hydro in. It'd be faster if I had a bigger scoop, but I don't, so we're just gonna take it slow. Right, that's all the semi-hydro that I have. No, I think I have a whole other bag of it somewhere else. But That's all the semi-hydro I have in front of me right now. But I think that should be absolutely fine. Okay, I'm gonna take this leaf off because it's looking a bit sad. Just that one. And then I really just want, I feel like a good chunk of them stay upright enough, but not all of them. I feel like string is probably the better option. Better than computer Velcro, just because it's slightly more flexible. I'm pretty sure I had green string somewhere. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I will just make like a sort of like loose loop. Out of this. Because it's not like I can never use it again. I mean, it doesn't look fantastic or anything. Oh, it's got that way longer than it needed to be, okay. It's not ideal, but I think it will do for now. Kind of. Like, does that look okay? I feel like it looks okay from that side and that side only. The other thing is, I'm not sure I have a cash pot big enough. Should I take this leaf off as well? Yeah, you can go off. I don't know if I have a cash pot big enough for this, which I mean I do kind of need because it is in semi-hydro. Okay. I also need to figure out where it's gonna go. Okay, it's fine. I did think about this. I was like, oh, because I think the cash pot, I was ordering off Amazon and it was gonna take longer to get here than this was, and I was like, I don't have time for that this week, because I'm going away, and I wanted to do this before I left. So, okie doke, okie doke, okie doke. Let me find something that will work. Well, I think the only thing that I have that's big enough would be this pot that my philodendron melanonii was in. But I just need to give this a quick scrub, quick wash, because that plant was in soil. So let me wash this quickly, and yes, that'll fit actually perfectly, I think, in there. And it's plastic, which is my ideal, in my opinion, for stuff that has semi-hydro going in it. Okay, moment of truth. Dun, da, da, da. Okay, that actually fits freaking perfectly in there, I think. Doesn't it? It's a bit wobbly. That's a bit odd. Okay, well this is literally the only option I have at the moment. The main question is where do I put it? Because I feel like the only space I have readily available right now is, oh, sorry, not a pest. The only space I have readily available right now is in the office, on Joe's desk. And I know for a fact that he's not a fan of having this one on his desk, because it is so sprawly. But maybe now that I've contained it, it won't be be as bad. I don't know, I feel like it's definitely not ideal there, and it also doesn't get any grow light there, which could be a potential issue. Because I feel like this one's only been growing really, really well since it's been underneath the grow light. Before, it was only giving me leaves like this size, and now they're friggin' huge, which I love, but I just know that it'd be happier underneath the grow light. I think for the time being, the grow light situation, I can't really do anything about that right now, because I'd have to set up a new grow light or do like some major rearranging. It's gonna have to go on Joe's desk because we're also not working for the next 2 weeks. So I feel like that's fine. He's got one more day of work. He can live with it for one day, and then after that, I can sort it out in 2 weeks' time. I feel like that's the best bet for this one. So let's go put it in the office. Okay. I mean, this area of the desk didn't have anything on it anyways. It was looking a little bit too unplanty. I mean, it will do for now. It does look a little bit weird here. This is a sit-stand desk. So when Joe's standing, it is very nearly touching the ceiling. When he's sitting, it should be okay. I mean, like I said, this isn't a long-term fix. This is for right now because this is what I have sort of fixed. So let me just put some water in here, and that will be that. You know what? I actually find the indicators on these Albo pots, they used to be like quite a bright green, and now they're a bit more dark green, which works better for like blending in, but when I'm trying to like check to see if things need water, it's a lot harder for me to see whether or not they do. So that's a little bit annoying, but it's fine. I'll just have to look more closely, I guess. And then the last thing I need to do, hit the ceiling, is to put this Monstera back. And that actually, I feel like it does look a little bit better. It just fills up the space a slight bit more. Obviously not with plant, but it will eventually fill that up. So this is where I'm going to end this vlog. I feel like I got a decent chunk of things done this week. Nothing insane, but this is like, I feel like this is a vibe of what a typical week looks like for me. Just kind of doing bits and bobs as and when I can, rather than like spending a whole day doing plenty stuff. Does that make sense? Anyways, that's what I do. I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me for the journey. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplantey things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and don't forget to keep growing. Bye!